Voters in the Alberta riding of Battle River-Crowfoot head to the polls tomorrow in a closely watched by-election. That is where Conservative Leader Pierre Poilievre is running after losing his Ottawa area seat in the last federal election. The riding is seen as one of the safest Conservative seats in the country. A record 214 candidates are on the ballot, but a large number of those are part of the longest ballot committee, a protest group calling for changes to Canada's electoral system. For more on tomorrow's by-election and what we could expect to see and what it'll mean when the House of Commons gets back, we're joined by my friend Kathleen Petty. She hosts the radio show Alberta at noon and the podcast West of Centre on CBC, and she's in Calgary. Hey, Kathleen.
Hey there, Eli. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. So this riding is the safest of safe Conservative seats. Is this kind of a fait accompli for Pierre Poilievre?
Look, Eli, I don't know anyone who suggests that we should all be sitting on the edge of our seat, waiting to see if he's going to win this. I mean, I'm not into the prediction game, but I don't know anyone who seriously thinks he's under any threat. I think what the focus is going to be is what share he gets. And has been pointed out, generally speaking, Conservative candidates garner somewhere in the 80s in terms of the vote share, occasionally a bit lower in 2021. The PPC was actually a force, somewhat of a force in that riding, and so the vote share was about 71%. But clearly, people will look at the share and then reach a conclusion, and I would suggest that that conclusion will be seen through a very partisan lens. So if there is a way, if you're, say, a Liberal, to look at that share and see it is something below what Pierre Poilievre should get, then that's the narrative they will advance. Conservatives, I think, will advance another narrative, not least of which is the fact that there are 213 people running against him.
Right. Now, does the fact that Poilievre chose this riding, one of, if not the safest seat for Conservatives in the country, do you think it changes the way Canadians see him? Does it change kind of the appeal he may or may not have right now?
I think people probably reached that conclusion initially when it was decided this was the riding he would run in. Obviously, you want to run your leader in a riding that you know he's going to win. There is, as you point out, the specter of, wow, could you make it any easier? There was one riding that had a higher vote share, believe it or not, and that was Souris Moose Mountain in Saskatchewan, which was closer to 84%. But yeah, it doesn't get much safer than this. But honestly, I just think people will move on. Yeah. People will take a look at that vote share, and then he's going to hit the ground running, because he's essentially been, although he certainly has made statements and he's entered into the political conversation, he hasn't really had the impact, I think, that he would normally have if he was, an elected MP and returning to the House as leader of the opposition, which as it stands right now, he's leader of the party, but not leader of the opposition.
Kathleen, do you have any sense how locals feel about him in this election, other than the longest ballot committee and that push for electoral reform? Because I could see, on the one hand, well, now you have the leader of a political party representing your riding, and that's great, but others might see him as a bit of a carpetbagger.
Well, Bonnie Critchley would be the one who has been the most vocal and has made that point. I don't know if this is a direct quote, but it's pretty close. She said he doesn't give a rat's backside about the people in that riding. In other words, this is just a vehicle back into the House of Commons. Obviously, he would push back against that. I think it's fair to note that he's been in the riding a lot. He's been going to a lot of events, talking to a lot of people. I mean, he is campaigning hard. He even participated, Eli, in a debate in Camrose not so long ago, which is not something we would normally expect from Pierre Poilievre, but he did that. People in the riding, CBC's been there, other news outlets have been there. They've talked to voters, and many of whom are voting for him. But even those who are not sort of acknowledge they expect him to win. And those who are understand that this is a vehicle back into the House. But I think largely Conservatives are okay with that because they're Conservatives in that riding. It is a Conservative riding, as you point out, and he is the leader of the party. So I think they understand the politics of it, frankly, and they're unlikely to be inclined to vote any other way, although some will vote another way clearly as a protest.
There's a certain element of practicality for what is happening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights. That's Kathleen Petty, the host of West of Centre podcast.